Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So we are back again today, and today we're specifically going to be talking about the 5 states that Donald Trump went from going that were originally supposed to go blue, and basically, in other words, the 5 states that Donald Trump saved from going blue. So these states are actually pretty Republican, and they are pretty much in the Republican column, in my analysis. And we're going to go all through them. In fact, each of these 5 states were supposed to be won by Joe Biden. Then again, the Democrats will remind us how unpopular Donald Trump is. But the truth is, back when the 2020 election happened, they were predicting a Joe Biden landslide. And what ended up happening was not a Joe Biden landslide. Donald Trump at least got past 200 electoral votes. All these projection boards were saying that Donald Trump wouldn't get 200 electoral votes. In fact, they were saying that he would get less electoral votes than John McCain. And that would have, I would say Biden would have surpassed Obama's margin in 2008. Although Biden did surpass Obama's margin, but it was in 2012, a much tight race compared to 2008. But obviously, you see the polls. Donald Trump's approval rating is somewhat it's kind of in the middle. There's a lot of polls that show it's negative, but you know what? I've kind of learned. We had polls in 2016 that said he has a -10 net approval. That was his whole entire first term. And what do we got right now? He's at 46%. That's very good. So basically, Donald Trump in his first term, 46% approved of his term in office. And of course, you got some people, some idiots that don't know what they're doing. They'll go and they'll vote for Joe Biden. You got some people that will just say, "Oh, Joe Biden, I hear Donald Trump's not so good." Blah, 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 blah. It was all that was just 51.3%. Everyone was saying Donald Trump was the Antichrist, and Joe Biden got 51.3%. Wow, Donald Trump's so bad. And of course, he gets more popular from the latest election. But we're going to be talking about the 5 states in which we're supposed to go Democratic in 2020. And although we're going back to the said 2020 election, we want to be done with 2020. But the truth is, 2020 will be studied for a very long time. Why? Because obviously, the polls were wrong. Okay, they were saying that Donald Trump was going to lose by a lot. He did lose, but he lost by not as much as they thought. In fact, we're going to be taking a look at these said states. It's starting off first with the state of North Carolina. Now, North Carolina is specifically a pretty tight race. I'll take a look at these polls. Yeah, Joe Biden won a majority of them. And if you were, it said leaning Democrat, tilting Democrat. If you were to put this in front of me and say, oh, Joe Biden is probably going to win North Carolina, I probably would have believed that because I was in the 2008, 2016 mindset. Besides, Donald Trump didn't even obtain 50% of North Carolina in 2016. And not to mention 2008, although it was close, Barack Obama, it proved that the state could go Democratic under an unpopular administration. And everyone said during 2016 that Donald Trump's administration was unpopular. Fast forward to 2020. After they were completely wrong about North Carolina, Donald Trump grows his lead, despite some networks like C-Analysis still insisting that North Carolina is Democratic. Wrong. Because think about it. Donald Trump's more popular now than he was in 2020 than he was in 2016. And you're saying he was going to lose North Carolina? This is the arguments I used last year. Last year arguments. And I was correct. Donald Trump expanded his margin. It was not over 5%. Yeah, it's a battleground state. Duh, dummy. So, but he did expand the margin. It did shift right. It didn't shift left. It didn't shift left because Trump bad, January 6th, yada, yada, all these left-wing talking points. No. And North Carolina, I would say, okay. Although they're telling us that Donald Trump's unpopular now. Well, Donald Trump was way more unpopular during his first term, and here North Carolina went to Donald Trump in 2020. So I probably will insist that North Carolina approves right now of what the Trump administration is doing. What would the approval be like in North Carolina right now? Well, white non-college graduates. Now, ideally, they were somewhat kind of impacted when their 401k was taken. Well, I would say taken, but we've got to remember a lot of these people, they are smart. They know the consequences. Like, hey, look, Donald Trump, he campaigned on this. So I would say 71%, maybe 69% at this rate. And it's even at 0.7%. White college graduate. Well, actually, I do think it's kind of going to look like this. Okay, ideally, this is what I think it's going to look like. But we can see if it's going to look like that. Otherwise, white college graduate. I would say maybe 46%. It goes down a little bit. 51%, 53%. Yeah, 51. There we go. Yeah, you'll see it's kind of in the balance there. African American, his support among African Americans in North Carolina. I'm not so sure, actually. Hang on. Let's change it because this is 2020 demographics. Hang on a second. We got to go and see what the demographics were unless they have it. We actually have trends here. Yeah, this is going more left. Yeah, you have them going more. This is Chatham County, North Carolina. This is the for sure counties that are going more to the said left. What about this county right here? Could it go to Donald Trump? Well, let's see. This is what I think it's looking like right now. If we were to have another real election in North Carolina today, presidentially, I think it would honestly look like this. Very simple. Seeing how the trends are going. And in my opinion, this would be a Republican victory. Now, we can go ahead and look at the Cook political swing-o-meter and see what they think it's going to look like and see if they agree with me or not. But I would think in generality, I think Donald Trump won the white non-college graduate vote by I'm trying to think here. Yeah, he did. He won North Carolina. I would say of course, that would increase a little. So I would say maybe 73%, maybe 72%. Fair. Okay, 72%. In the white non-college graduate, that would have expanded. I would say 54% for Trump. Now, in this rank, I would say maybe 53%. maybe, yeah, 43%. So there's a 10-point gap there. Yeah, 4.2%. Now, I doubt that 4.2% of the state approves of Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't really do, and I think his administration did great, but the American people, they still aren't feeling it. Their lives aren't changing that much. Inflation's going down, yes. Gas prices, they are going down, yes. But it's not like Donald Trump won the Super Bowl or something. So I doubt his approval is at 4.2 in North Carolina. It does depend. Looking at African American, I think it went down to 80. Let's say 89%, 88%. So it's kind of looking like my prediction, except for this county. It's 0.3%. I had it go really further to the right, left. I think it will go to the left, to the right eventually. Anson County, 62%. Yeah, I'm not sure about Anson. Maybe Anson would stay blue. But otherwise, this is what the approval rating of what the Democratic Party is right now. Slash Republican. This is what the election would look like right now. I'm not so sure. But yeah, Donald Trump, 5.9%. Sure, this is not based on Donald Trump's approval rating. This is also because of the Democratic Party. So many people have just walked away from it. But yes, you also have New Hanover too. So we're actually switching it out. But yeah, you could have seen New Hanover. I did. That's because of there's a 10-point gap with the student vote. But that is North Carolina. Florida is not on the roster, but I can tell you, looking at previous election data, that, of course, Republicans have taken the opportunities in Florida in regards to trends. So let's say 2024, there's a swing map. Yeah, it's all red. Look at this. Solid red. Okay, so yeah, you have Orange County's straight to the right. But still, I would say maybe Palm Beach County, seeing how fast this county went to the right. Well, I would say it stays Democrat. You could see, because if you have them all voting in a presidential election, we got to remember that Palm Beach County has always been more reliably Democratic in this regard. But that's what I'm kind of thinking it would be like, despite Palm Beach County going, like, shifting really far to the right. But who knows? Maybe it stopped. I don't know. Maybe it's keeping going. But I'll tell you, this is good news for Byron Donalds. If you're having Palm Beach County going further to the right, that will very well help him in his governor's campaign. Notice, guys, all the darker the county is, you got the three Hispanic counties: Miami-Dade, Hendry County, and Osceola counties. Them being Hispanic, mainly having Cuban population, they're going 90% further to the right compared to other counties. More 15% more conservative than the other counties due to their being Hispanic. Kind of interesting, right? The third state is Texas, another state that's not necessarily on the roster. That's the Lone Star State. Is kind of interesting. We've seen in recent trends southern Texas going red, and I think that this is probably a permanent thing. Really, the Hispanic population, they'll make as much lies as they can about the Hispanic population and their views towards MAGA. They said, "Oh, Trump, he hates Hispanics. Hispanics are so bad for MAGA, so bad and so mean to Hispanics. Yada yada yada." But here in 2020, Trump gained a record of Hispanics. You got these counties right here. They go from dark blue. Some of them voted 70% for Trump. They ended up going 70% for Clinton, excuse me. They ended up going for, they almost went to Trump. And on top of that, boom, he sweeps Southern Texas. So it's always been, Donald Trump seems to be the number one Republican that seems to attract the most Hispanics into the Republican Party. Well, when Donald Trump, he won't be president next year. I'm not next year, in the next 2029. Whoever that Republican nominee will be in 2028, J.D. Vance. I think J.D. Vance would have an influence, being a Roman Catholic himself. He would have influence in the Roman Catholic areas of southern Texas. But as you can clearly see, pattern-wise, let's see if I can pull up the 2024 map, New York Times, because I want to honestly take a look at these counties, southern Texas. Like, you got, yeah, Starr County is not necessarily committed to being Republican yet. I would say it's more Democratic still. You got Zapata County. I would say that's pretty Republican, if you ask me. Actually, no, hang on. No, I'm wrong. Yeah, Starr County's Republican. 58% is very good. You got Wallasey County, which is more close, if you ask me. Wallasey, Cameroon, that's somewhat close. Hidalgo is close. Starr, I would say Hidalgo. I would say this county right here, Cameron County, will be Democratic. Webb County could be Democratic. Because we got to remember, okay, yeah, Zapata and those counties up here. We got to remember that the border crisis, a lot of them shifted to the right because of the border crisis. So I'm not necessarily saying, oh, is Southern Texas now Republican? Well, I think the ones Trump won by over 10 points are. Possibly over 9, too. But I would say Duval County is Republican. What about these? Yeah, these two counties are Democratic. So ideally, this area is still, of southern Texas, is still somewhat Democratic in my point of view. But man, we did make some gains. Jim Wells County, 58%. Yeah, and then the rest is, so this is southern Texas. I would say I describe it more Republican. You just have this area right here, and that happens to be low-income Hispanic, liberal Hispanic areas. But most of southern Texas is indeed Republican. Now, when it comes to urban areas, I would say maybe these areas would go back to the Democrats, like Tarrant County. It's somewhat still compatible. Let's see, Ted Cruz, he lost Tarrant County, unfortunately, but he still performed pretty well. 48.9%, 48.7%. He also lost Williamson County. Williamson's a part of the Travis Metro, and that's the thing we kind of have to realize. Tarrant County is getting more liberal. It voted for Biden in 2020. It would have voted for Democrats in 2024. Only because it voted Republican. Biden was just so bad. You can't necessarily say it's Republican. It is Republican. It's mostly Republican voting history and registration, but it's getting more liberal because you have liberals from Dallas County going into Fort Worth and Tarrant County, and that, of course, is plaguing the said county more leftwards. And is it going to be permanently Democratic, you may ask? Probably in the near future. But I think it's still Republican. I think Republicans will enjoy a couple more wins in Tarrant. But when it comes to these areas, I do think that Democrats, if an election was held today in Texas, Democrats would have some sort of advantage. I know this video is supposed to be, Trump saved 5 states from going Democratic, and it's true. And just because we have 2 counties, Williamson and Tarrant counties, going Democratic doesn't mean that Trump didn't save Texas. Texas is going blue because Tarrant and Williamson counties are going blue. No, because Trump and the Republicans have what they need. These counties going red, they carry a significant area population. Like, for instance, Collin County and Denton County. Yeah, they're 11 points Republican, and they have thousands of votes. Areas like, let's see, if they're Galveston County and Galveston County, 63%. And all these areas are like 70%, 80%. They have a lot of those votes, and that's giving Republicans the upper hand. So yes, we should be concerned if Harris County or Travis, Dallas, or El Paso or Bexar counties, they go over 60%, because that means that, okay, those counties and probably the suburbs are switching over, and yet Texas can be vulnerable if they go 60%. But what I'm seeing pattern-wise, Donald Trump is turning a county like Harris County, which is pretty close. It's pretty close to there, into a Clark County, Nevada, or a Maricopa County, Miami-Dade County. This sort of county where people are going to, conservative working class sort of Americans, they're going to this county to find work. And not only that, they're carrying their conservative views with them, and they're turning the county red. Houston and Harris County has always been sort of a Republican county until Obama came around. But what we've seen, the left and how bad they were in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, the folks in Harris County and even Dallas County, they're shifting more to the right. That doesn't mean that these areas around those counties won't go to the left either. It really is hard to explain. Suburbs, they can go their opposite ways. But this is what it's looking like so far. But, yeah, I like this map better. It's based. But going to the next one being Arizona. Now, Arizona, Trump won Arizona by a lot. And you would see the numbers that he won Arizona by. You probably would think, he's probably carrying Arizona, or Maricopa County in this case, by like double digits. No, otherwise it would have been like a solid result. But Maricopa County actually voted. Yeah, you'll see. Look at this. Ugh, wow. Apache County went really to the right. even Santa Cruz. It used to be 70% Democratic. Yuma County, straight to the right. You got, Maricopa. Let's see, Maricopa County. 51% for Trump, 47% for Harris. 3.47%. It's within 5 points, which is kind of weird, right? That's because Donald Trump did everything he needed to win everywhere else, right? What about Coconino County? Okay, a margin of 19.80% for Harris, 58% in Coconino. Apache, 58% for Harris. Santa Cruz County, 58% for Harris. Pima County, 56% for Harris. And places that are also pretty popular, like Pinal County, 60%. These areas, like Pinal, for sure, 60%. This is influenced by the metro of Phoenix. Even Gila County somewhat influenced, and Yuma County. They're all these important counties. The three important counties are going 60%. Go to 2020. How did these counties vote prior? Yeah, you got these counties right here. Pinal, though, is in the 50% called for Republicans. So, what do you think what it would look like right now? Honestly, I do think it would. Maricopa would go back to the left, specifically because Maricopa usually goes. Although I really do want Maricopa to be conservative, but ideally the atmosphere seems pretty liberal at this time. Let's take a look at the change. White College, I would say went up by 63, 64. I would say it's at 63 right now in support of Trump. 49, White College graduate. We might have it be maybe 50. How about that? 48% for liberal, 50% for conservative. So, yeah, you'll even see 1.4%. This is 3 percentage points in favor of Trump. 62% for the Hispanic and Latino. Let's see. I would say 57 seems pretty good. And then you have Asian and other. But I think, honestly, I think this is good. And going back to North Carolina, I do think that Anson is Republican and New Hanover is Democratic. Just switching that around with my common sense. That's kind of what I'm looking at there. Then we have Nevada. Clark and I'm forgetting that name. Washington. Well, not, is that right? No, Washington. No, that's in Michigan. Let's check. Washoe. I was close. Washoe County. So, yeah, I think it pretty much looks the same. Washoe County is possibly a pickup for Republicans. Well, what do you mean? If we're going to give Washoe County to Trump, then we might as well give Clark County to Trump. Although the shifts to the right have been very relative. So, there you guys have it. Donald Trump, where things are right now, both counties are, all states pretty much are Republican. Just because Maricopa is going Democratic doesn't mean, it must be blue. No. As I proved this theory a long time ago, Harris, she could have easily won Maricopa County, if she had performed a little bit better, like 3 points better, it may have been a little bit more tighter. Maybe Trump won by 2 points, but he would have still won the election, seeing that he has won in those outer areas of Maricopa County. You can lose Maricopa, but you just need to really crank up those numbers. And maybe the 3 counties of Yuma, Gila, and Pinal counties. So that is pretty much it for our analysis. So what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below. And as always, I will see you all in the next political episode.